is my celebration about all the books and reading and stories and the stuff that goes on. It's just awesome this week. And it's a brilliant week to be celebrating it, because on Thursday I was celebrating as well. I was celebrating way too much. I was drinking far too much Iron Brew. I was getting carried away because Scotland qualified for the first major finals in 23 years. How brilliant is that? The thing is, see, you kids don't really understand. We used to qualify all the time. Every 4 years, or every 2 years sometimes. We went to the Euros, we went to the World Cup. I was there when Ali McCoy scored against Switzerland at the Euros in '96. And I was there at the World Cup in Spain in 1982. And I love football. And that got me thinking. Right, we're celebrating Scotland qualifying. We're celebrating Book Week Scotland and all the brilliant books that are out there. And I had a look at my bookshelves at the top of the stairs, and I've got loads of football books. I actually didn't realise how many I had. Right, see, Andy Gray's Flat Back Four and Nick Hornby's Fever Pitch. Brilliant book about Arsenal going to Liverpool and winning it in the last minute. Fantasy football. Brazilian book about how a Scotsman went to Brazil and introduced the Brazilians how to play football. How mad's that? We brought the game to the world, and then the Brazilians took it over, and then they're much better than we are. And this one, Ali McCoy's autobiography. The ladies now, Rhoda and Roz, ooh, Ali McCoy's. The thing is, he came from East Kilbride. He started his career playing East Kilbride High School. So I just thought, there are so many books in the library that you can find what you love. Right? If you like unicorns and fairies, plenty of books about unicorns and fairies. If you like football, if you like superheroes, ask the librarians. You know, librarians are like little superheroes. They've got the entire world stored in their head, and they'll ask you 2 or 3 questions, and they'll be able to tell you. They'll find the right book just for you. I've got to thank you guys, because you've been sending in lots of questions. This is Ask an Author Anything, and I've got the questions coming through here. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just see where it goes, and hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions as well as possible. Okay, first one. What age were you when you started writing? I was 4. Yeah, started writing when I was 4. I went to school. The teacher gave me a pencil, said, write your name. And I went, Stuart. Woohoo, I'm a writer! And I've been doing it ever since. So you can start writing as young as you like. Next one. Do you sometimes make yourself laugh when you're writing? Yeah. My books are silly. My books are about bums and bogies and big bottom burps. I've got to laugh. I've got to write about things that make me laugh. Hopefully it makes you, the readers, laugh as well. There's a bit in my book where Grandpa Jock is on his scooter and he's heading down a hill and he flips over the end and his bum comes out his kilt and he lands on the... That happened to me, not my bum. No. I was on my scooter. I was going along to the shop and I thought, right, check the road, nothing coming, dropped down the curb, crossed the road, hit the curb at the other side and actually flew over my handlebars, landing on my... Now, that was bad enough, but there was a lady sitting in her car and she saw the whole thing, and rather than look at me, embarrassed and everything, she lifted her newspaper up and hid behind it, and all I could see the newspaper was so anything that happens in your life that makes you laugh, write it down, turn it into your own story. Next one. Why did you want to become an author? Good question. I wasn't always an author. When I left school, my first job was pushing trolleys in a supermarket car park. I became so good at pushing trolleys, they promoted me. They made me a manager. They gave me my own shop. They promoted me again. They made me an area manager. They gave me 40 shops to look after. And then I looked after 35 hotels from Inverness down to Newcastle. And then they said to me, do you want to go and live in Dubai? Yeah. So I moved over to the Middle East and I opened up this big 300 bedroom hotel. We had a swimming pool, we had a maid and gardener, we had 2 big cars, we had a fancy house, and you know what? All that stuff round about us, I wasn't happy. Didn't make me happy at all. And my wife recognised that and she says, what would you love doing? I says, well, you know what? See, when I was at school, I wanted to write. I wanted to write about football. I love football. I love writing. Being a journalist and going to football matches would have been my dream job, and I didn't do it. So when I was 42, I changed my whole life. I gave up all that stuff and I became an author. And 2 years after that, my first book came out, and now I've brought out a book nearly every year ever since. Cool, good question. Next one. Who is your favourite author? I love Lee Child. Absolutely lovely. He does a Jack Reacher series about this big, cool ex-military cop that goes around, rescuing people and solving mysteries and stuff like that. I went through a wee Stephen King phase where a lot of horror stuff was quite cool, quite funny, vampires and zombies and things like that. So it doesn't matter, as long as you love reading, something that hooks you, drags you into the story. If you like a particular author, read more books by the same author. You'll love them. Next question. What is your favourite genre? I love comedy. I like funny ones. I like action and adventure. I like science fiction. I love horror stories. I love superhero stories. Just whatever it is. I just want to keep reading these kind of wild, wacky stories that feed your imagination. In fact, you can't quite see it here. This is my man cave. I do my recordings. I actually write most of the time in my man cave. I type on my laptop, but you can't see it behind there. But on the walls of the man cave, I put up stuff that I love. I put up sci-fi and superheroes and horror and just everything that makes me me. You know what? I'm going to show you. Maybe I shouldn't show you. Maybe beep, blank this bit out if you're not allowed to look, but I'll show you some of the pictures that are on my walls. Right, hang on a second. Okay, we're on the move. Right, here we are. Yeah, I've got my Marvel stuff. I've got Predator. There's a little bit of Deadpool there. Over this side. Watch out for the high voltage. I might just zap myself if I get a bit of... Deadpool and Pennywise the clown up the top. I love Walking Dead. There's Deadpool again. Pennywise again. RoboCop. 28 Days Later. The zombie stuff. There's me when I met the guy from The Walking Dead. And then over on this wall, I've got my Stormtrooper. I love Star Wars. I love Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, the Joker, and there's even, I don't know if you can see him, there's Yoda. So this is the kind of stuff that I love. It's the same in my books and my stories. Okay, and we're back to the normal bit. Next question. How long did it take you to complete your first book? Actually took me 2 years. It sounds a long time, but I left Dubai and I started writing lots of different ideas, and then I found the one I thought, this is going to be it. I found a publisher in Yorkshire, and 2 years after I'd left Dubai, I brought out my first book, and then, as I say, almost every year since then, I've brought out another book. So whatever you do, don't give up. Don't ever think, I can't do this. Make it happen. You are in charge. You make it happen for yourself. Cool. Right, next one. Who inspired you to become an author? Well, I'm actually legally obliged to say it was my wife, Audrey. She's been brilliant. We were living in Dubai. We weren't really happy with the kind of lifestyle there. And she actually said, what do you want to do? And I said, I really quite like the idea of writing books. She goes, that's it, give up your job and become an author. And basically, because Audrey had been living the life of luxury in Dubai for a couple of years, getting her nails done, going to the gym, drinking coffee every day, she says, I'll go back to work, you go and write. And that's it. I took a year off, started writing really hard, and suddenly the book dream became a reality. It was great. Thank you, Audrey. You are my inspiration. What did you want to be when you were young? I wanted to be a football player. I absolutely loved football. There was nothing else I could think of. And then, kind of around about the age of 16, reality hit me, and I had to get a proper job, pushing trolleys in a supermarket car park. But I think if I'd stuck at it, I would have been a football player. Yeah, definitely. If you were not an author, what job would you have now? I'd be a football player. I'd still be playing. If somebody paid me to go and play football every day, I'd do it. That's brilliant. I think that's a great idea. Do you enjoy writing? And do you ever get writer's block? I love writing. It's like unscrewing the top of your head and let your imagination explode out of a box. When I sit and do it, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't even know where the ideas are going to come from. I don't even know where it's going to take me. But I know, wow, once I start, I'm in for a fantastic ride. And hopefully you guys, as readers, feel the same way about reading books. Second part of that question, do you ever get writer's block? Yeah, sometimes. In my very first book, I felt as if I'd written myself into a dead end. It was like a cul-de-sac, and I couldn't work out how my characters were going to get out of that little block. And what I did was I sat with my daughters, who were quite a bit younger at the time. They're now all grown up. But when they were younger, we sat, three of us, and a sock puppet. And we had a conversation between the four of us. So me and my girls and Sock Puppet. And Sock Puppet was asking really bonkers questions. And it suddenly opened up the whole book. It was as if door after door after door was opening towards the end. I thought, that's it, I've got to go and write it. So now, nowadays, what I use sits beside me at my desk here. I use my Grandpa Jock little figure here. I talk to him in my man cave sometimes when my wife is working or the girls are away, and we have good conversations about stories. So there's always a way. Use your imagination to open that door and get rid of the writer's block. How long does it take you to think of ideas for your books? Ideas are everywhere. Like I said, you just unlock the lid on your imagination, think about anything that pops in. Might not work straight away, but you might find ideas that actually become story. A poo burger. What if Grandpa Jock wanted to open a burger chain somewhere, or his own little burger caravan, and somebody put poo in his burgers? That's not as disgusting. Well, it is disgusting. It is as disgusting as you think. But it's not just for kids' books. There's an adult book where one of the ladies puts poo in a chocolate cake and she gives it to this other lady, and the other lady eats it. It's true. It's a book called The Help. Ask the librarians, but it is about a poo cake. Right, yeah, coronavirus. We've got coronavirus now. It's all on the news. It's all round about us. And we've now got a vaccine, which is great news. But what if one of the side effects was the vaccine coloured in your farts? What if the whole country gets a jag to help them with coronavirus, and suddenly little red bubbles start popping out? There's a blue one, there's a green one. Oh no, he's had cabbage for his tea last night. So just think about stuff that pops into your head. This book here is about aliens, right? It's called Grandpa Jock and the Incredible Iron Brewman Incident. It's about aliens. Now this has really worried me about aliens, is that how can we talk to them? When they arrive here in Scotland or the world or whatever, they're not going to be able to speak the same language as we do. And we're going to have to find a way to translate it. We can't even speak to animals in this planet. I mean, dolphins and dogs and chimpanzees and elephants, and they're all meant to be really, really intelligent, but we still can't hold a conversation with them. So I quite like the idea of somebody inventing an animal translator so that we can talk to animals and have proper conversations with dogs, etc. And then when the aliens arrive, we've got a translator that we can talk to them as well. So just think about stuff that's going on in your own life. Scotland winning the Euros. Yes, there's a good storyline. Just an idea. No, okay, you're right. It's a little bit far-fetched. Next question. Where did you get your inspiration from? I just said your life, real life, all the things that are happening right now in the world, things that are happening to you, things you love, things that make you excited in here or make you cry or make you scared. Put it down on a sheet of paper. Dreams. My first book, Giant Geriatric Generator, was a dream that I had, and I woke up and I knew what it looked like and what it made and what it did, and I thought, I've got to write it down. So your dreams can... Actually, 200 years ago, there was a lady called Mary Shelley, and she was only 18 at the time, and she had a dream, and she woke up and she could remember her dream vividly. It was a man in a white coat, like a doctor, and he was sewing fingers onto hands, and he was sewing hands onto arms and arms onto bodies, and he was attached, this creature was attached to a great big electric bed, and then the doctor was bringing the creature to life using electricity from lightning. And Frankenstein, the most famous horror book ever, the mother of sci-fi, science fiction, started with Mary Shelley when she was 18, writing about dreams. And then, of course, alliterations. All my book titles are alliterations. Jumbo Job, Reducer, Unidentified, Unsinkable, Underpants, Zigzag, Zip Face, Zombies. Putting words together that don't always sit side by side in the same sentence unlocks some kind of Wow, fantastic ideas inside my head. Unidentified, unsinkable underpants. Where would you go to sink a pair of pants? Loch Ness. All these ideas just pop in when you put words together. Next one. Who is the most famous author you've met? I suppose book sale. Jeff Kinney, who does Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He came to the Edinburgh Festival a few years ago. I've met Julia Donaldson. I've met. He's not really an author. He's an illustrator. Axel Scheffler, who does the illustrations for the Gruffalo, works a lot with Julia Donaldson. A good friend of mine, met him a few times, and we're buddies on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, is a guy called Philip Arder. Now, Philip Arder couldn't do this because his head would be sticking out the top. He's absolutely huge. He's got a big, long beard. He's really funny guy. He won the 2009 Roald Dahl Funny Book Prize. So he's a great author. I love Philip. And there's actually a guy lives not far from here. He's from Coatbridge originally. His name is Mark Miller. And he, about 20 odd years ago, he recreated the Spider-Man stories. He did a lot of Marvel stuff. He did Fantastic Four. He's one of the executive producers in Kingsman. You know, the Kingsman books, or they actually started off as comic books, but they're now movies. And he did he's an executive producer on all the Avengers stories. So he only lives along the road. All that kind of stuff. So, but I didn't meet him. I've got to confess, I didn't meet Mark Miller, but my illustrator, John Pender, the guy that does all my drawings, he's accepted 2 awards from Mark Miller in the past, and John gets all shy. He doesn't like talking about it, but he's got a picture of him and Mark Miller standing together, and he's got his big award. So I'll give a shout out to John. He does fantastic drawings for me. Thank you, John. Probably the most famous author that you've met, I should say. Next one. What is your favourite childhood memory? It's going to be football again. When I was about 14, me and my dad went to Spain to follow Scotland in the World Cup 1982. Scotland were playing against New Zealand. We beat them 5-2. And then we played Brazil. Oh, brilliant. And we were right behind the goal when Dave Neary scored. About 20 minutes into the match, Dave Neary, it was described as a toe poke, but it wasn't. It was an absolute beauty. Top corner, and my dad got it on cinefilm. And we were away for a week, and we were camping. A great adventure. That's probably my best childhood memory, spending a week with my dad in Spain following the football. Brilliant. Thanks, Dad. If you weren't an author, what would you be? I've told you, I'd be a footballer. Goes away even now. I'll be playing for the veterans. Because actually, the older I get, the better I remember I used to be. So by the time I'm 60 or 70, I should have played for Scotland. I really was that good. Any tips for budding writers? Write all the time. Write about stuff you see. If you see a funny dog, write about a funny dog. What kind of conversation would you have with that dog? Write about things that you see round about you. Everybody walks about with masks. Why don't you invent silly masks with big clown noses on the front of them? See, red nose people should have done that this year. They should have had a mask with a big nose on the top, because we're all wearing them. We might as well be silly when we're doing it. Write about stuff that you love. Write about what comes from the heart. If it affects you in here, get it down on paper and share it with people, because it's your story. Make the most of it. Okay, that's us finished with the question. Huge thank you for sending all these questions in to all these kids and the schools, and thank you very much for sending them in. I hope you've enjoyed my answers. I've had a lot of fun answering them as well, as much as you guys. Have a fantastic Book Week Scotland. I hope your Book Week Scotland goes with a bang! Book Week Scotland!